Essays in Persuasion by John Maynard Keynes. Introduction. Essays in Persuasion, which was first published in 1931, was author John Maynard Keynes' first volume of collected essays. In it, he gathered together various writings on public affairs from 1919 to 1931, including some extracts from his published books. The essays taken as a whole embody forecasts and recommendations made by the author on a variety of subjects which can now be checked by the course of events. Essays in Persuasion is divided into 5 sections which deal respectively with 1. The Treaty of Peace, 2. Inflation and deflation, 3. The return to the gold standard, 4. Politics, and 5. The future. Lessons. When the accumulation of wealth is no longer of high social importance, there will be great changes in the code of morals. I can be influenced by what seems to me to be justice and good sense, but the class war will find me on the side of the educated bourgeoisie. The love of money as a possession, as distinguished from the love of money as a means to the enjoyments and realities of life, will be recognized for what it is, a somewhat disgusting morbidity, one of those semi-criminal, semi-pathological propensities which one hands over with a shudder to the specialists in mental. 4. How can I accept a doctrine which sets up as its Bible, above and beyond criticism, an obsolete economic textbook which I know to be not only scientifically erroneous but without interest or application for the modern world? How can I adopt a creed which, preferring the mud to the fish, exalts the boorish proletariat above the bourgeois and the intelligentsia who, with whatever faults, are the quality in life and surely carry the seeds of all human advancement? 5. During the lengthy process of production, the business world is incurring outgoings in terms of money paying out in money for wages and other expenses of production in the expectation of recouping this outlay by disposing of the product for money at a later date. That is to say, the business world as a whole must always be in a position where it stands to gain by a rise of price and to lose by a fall of price. Whether it likes it or not, the technique of production under a regime of money contract forces the business world always to carry a big speculative position, and if it is reluctant to carry this position, the productive process must be slackened. 6. If economists could manage to get themselves thought of as humble, competent people on a level with dentists, that would be splendid. 7. I do not know which makes a man more conservative, to know nothing but the present, or nothing but the past. 8. A study of the history of opinion is a necessary preliminary to the emancipation of the mind. 9. The best way to cure this mortal disease of individualism must be to provide that there shall never exist any competent expectation either that prices generally are going to fall or that they are going to rise, and also that there shall be no serious risk that a movement, if it does occur, will be a big one. If unexpectedly and accidentally a moderate movement were to occur, wealth, though it might be redistributed, would not be diminished thereby. 10. Money is only important for what it will procure. Thus a change in the monetary unit, which is uniform in its operation and affects all transactions equally, has no consequences. If, by a change in the established standard of value, a man received and owned twice as much money as he did before in payment for all rights and for all efforts, and if he also paid out twice as much money for all acquisitions and for all satisfactions, he would be wholly unaffected. 11. Marxian Socialism must always remain a portent to the historians of opinion. How a doctrine so illogical and so dull can have exercised so powerful and enduring an influence over the minds of men, and, through them, the events of history. 12. By what modus operandi does credit restriction attain this result? In no other way than by the deliberate intensification of unemployment. 13. The phrase laissez-faire is not to be found in the works of Adam Smith, of Ricardo, or of Malthus. Even the idea is not present in a dogmatic form in any of these authors. Adam Smith, of course, was a free trader and an opponent of many 18th-century restrictions on trade. But his attitude towards the navigation acts and the usury laws shows that he was not dogmatic. Even his famous passage about the invisible hand reflects the philosophy which we associate with Paley rather than the economic dogma of laissez-faire. 14. Are the solutions offered us always to be too late? Shall we in Great Britain invite 3/4 of the world, including the whole of our empire, to join with us in evolving a new currency system which shall be stable in terms of commodities? Or would the gold standard countries be interested to learn the terms, which must needs be strict, on which we should be prepared to re-enter the system of a drastically reformed gold standard? 15. For many ages to come the old Adam will be so strong in us that everybody will need to do some work if he is to be contented. We shall do more things for ourselves than is usual with the rich today, only too glad to have small duties and tasks and routines. But beyond this, we shall endeavor to spread the bread thin on the butter to make what work there is still to be done to be as widely shared as possible. 3-hour shifts or a 15-hour week may put off the problem for a great while. For 3 hours a day is quite enough to satisfy the old Adam in most of us. 16. Most men love money and security more, and creation and construction less, as they get older. 17. For my part, one think that capitalism, wisely managed, can probably be made more efficient for attaining economic ends than any alternative system yet in sight, but that in itself it is in many ways extremely objectionable. 18. Inflation is unjust and deflation is inexpedient. Of the two, perhaps deflation is, if we rule out exaggerated inflations such as that of Germany, the worse, because it is worse, in an impoverished world, to provoke unemployment than to disappoint the rentier. But it is not necessary that we should weigh one evil against the other. It is easier to agree that both are evils to be shunned.